So this is what it's like rockhounding in Texas in the summer. A lot of white looking rocks. But if you look closely, there's some good stuff to be found. You see these interesting looking, I don't know, conglomerate type rocks. Little agate type rocks there. And even fossil rocks. Here, if you look closely, you can see lots of shell fossils in there. So the good stuff is here. You just have to take your time and look closely because everything has this white sort of powdery coating. This is an enormous rock bar area along the Nueces River near Uvalde, Texas. It's July 4th, 2022, and I'm gonna find some rocks. The name of the game out here is chert. There's so much of it. Most of what you see is chert. If you were to take these rocks and cut them open, they'd be mostly shades of brown. Take a high polish, which is one of the nice things about chert. It is, after all, like jasper, and it's silicon dioxide. Some of it, like this, you see have some bands. So call this banded chert. And these are great tumbler pieces. Here's another interesting piece of chert. Again, with lots of banding. I may take this one because I believe this will make a beautiful tumbled stone right here. I don't like that hole right there, but otherwise, several weeks in the tumbler. This one could be a showpiece. I'll keep this one. There's another nice little banded piece that looks like it will make a good tumbler. Oh, once again, another little hole. I like those. Don't like those holes. But yeah, I think I'll take this one home as well and throw it in the tumbler because, much like the other one, once this is polished, it should be really beautiful. This might be fossilized coral. You see those striations in there? I am currently tumbling a piece of fossilized coral. It's nearly finished and it's turning out very nice, so I may take this one. I believe that's what that is. Fossilized coral. So yeah, I think I'll take this and throw it in the tumbler. So I mentioned the chert. This is a good example of what it looks like on the inside. Just about all these rocks you see would look like this if you cut them open. Not too interesting. This is a good example of iron staining. You see that red on there. Now, that red really stands out, but if you look at it closely, you can see that it's just superficial. It's just iron staining. When I first started rockhounding out here, I would jump on a rock like this thinking, oh look, it's red jasper, only to be very disappointed. Yeah, so the lesson here is don't be fooled by the iron staining. It's not jasper. I'm not 100% sure about this piece. It looks like it might be petrified wood. I don't find much petrified wood here, but this one has the potential to be petrified wood. You can see the grain pattern in it. Looks a little odd though, so that's why I'm not 100% sure, but I do like the look of it. I think I will keep it anyway. There's some fancy banding on a piece of chert. Boy, that's interesting. I probably wouldn't keep this, but this is a good example of how don't judge a book by its cover. So you see this rock on the outside. Yeah, it doesn't look like a whole lot. This one happened to break apart, and look what was on the inside. Very cool. And trust me when I tell you, this will take a brilliant shine. But not much I could do with this piece. I could tumble it, but yeah, I got others. Here's one of those agate type rocks. It's a good tumble size here. So I think I will take this one and throw it in the tumbler. These usually turn out beautiful. There's a bunch of it here. I normally don't pick it up. But like I said, this piece looks like a good shape and size. Not too many flaws that will slow down the tumbling. So let's see how this one turns out. We're going to talk about iron staining. Look at this thing. That is definitely what an iron stained rock looks like. That should not be that red on top. It's striking against that orange. It's junk. This is an interesting rock. May deserve a closer look at the shop. You can see it's an agate type rock. And if you look closely, you can even make out some fortification banding. Not sure what I'll do with this, but I think I will take it home. I just have a thing for fortification banding. Call me crazy. Here's a nice big rock that decided to break apart for us, show us what's inside. You know, it's not super interesting, but you could probably make some beautiful cabochons out of that. It's got some waviness to it that I like. This is what it looks like on the outside. I like to play the game stud or dud. You know, a rock like this, you go, well, what would that look like if I cut it open? Clearly it has some potential. And there's an interesting looking rock. I'm gonna just assume that's rust causing that golden brown, but let's put some water on it. Yeah, it's not doing much for me. It's interesting though. This could be beautiful, cut and slabbed. I think I'm gonna pass, but this may be one of those I regret passing. Oh well. There's plenty of fish in the sea here. This one's really a little too small, but I think I'm gonna throw it in with one of the tumblers anyway, because I like that high contrast banding in it. So even though it's going to end up small once it's finished, I think it'll be a beautiful little polished rock when I'm done with it. Hey, look at this. I think I just found my first Texas pudding stone. As Rob would say up at Michigan Rocks, it's a pudding stone. Except I don't see any jasper in it. I think I'll go ahead and tumble this one because it looks like it might hold up. Maybe. And who knows, maybe after some tumbling, those rocks will have a little color on them. Doubt it. Here you go, Texas pudding stone. This one's for you, Rob Abrams, up there at Michigan Rocks. This fossil rock feels like it would hold up tumbling, so it's a good tumble size. So I'll go ahead and try this one. It's actually the perfect tumble size. We'll see how it holds up. Another one of these fossil rocks. This one looks a little bit different. Oh, it has a lot of those smaller shells in there. I don't normally see them like this. I think I will keep this one as well. Because again, I normally see them with just the one size shell. This one has the large and the small. And then I see some discoloration, some red, I guess maybe, or just dark brown. I don't normally see that, so it's different, therefore it's going home with me. You can tell it's been a while since this had a heavy flood. Look at all the growth that's in here now. Yeah, that's the problem. We haven't been getting much rain. One big storm, though, and this would be, I think, flattened. Like I said, this just goes on for miles. Nothing but rocks. A sea of these powder-covered white rocks. So I'm contemplating getting this one because I do like the banded chert. And this one has a pretty cool pattern in it. However, it's not a high contrasty banding. It'd be more of a subtle banding when I tumble it down. But it is a cool banding. I like those swirls. I don't know. Is it worth it? I have to think about this one as well. Let's see. Here's another one of those nice fossil rocks. This one has great contrast, but it's too big to tumble, and I have plenty of this stuff at home. But this is a good one. I really like the contrast between these. So this is the closest I can find to what would be a seam agate. You can see just a big chunk of this translucent agate material. It's just not very interesting. It's pretty common out here. And I have taken this home and slabbed it and made cabochons, and they're not unattractive, but it's not really fancy seam agate with all the dendrites and the sagonitic effects, all that stuff that make the agate beautiful. But you could certainly turn this into something. But I've got plenty of this kind of stuff at home. We're going to leave it. Well, now this piece I am sure is petrified wood. It's been agatized. But I can clearly make out the bark pattern in it. Yeah, I think this will be very nice once I get it tumbled. This is one of those that's going to take months to get right. But it'll be worth it. This should be a beauty. You know the old saying about everything is bigger in Texas. This rock bar just goes on and on and on. Right now the Nueces River, which should be right down in there, it's probably bone dry. And I've walked about as far as I think I'm going to walk this direction away from where my vehicle's parked, which is under the bridge over there. I'll start heading back. And then I'll empty what I have and go the other direction, because I still have some goals in mind. For example, I want to find some rocks that I can turn into spheres, maybe some cabbing rough as well. So it's about time to head back north. Besides, it's July 4th in Texas, and the forecast is for about 100 degrees today. It's about 11 a.m. So it's starting to warm up, and I don't want to be stuck out here when it's 100 degrees. So this is officially the Nueces River. It's completely bone dry. And as you can see, the rockhounding in here is even tougher because of the additional silt on these rocks. So I think I'm going to stay out of this low point here, get back up on the high ground, which is cleaner. due to the occasional rain they get out here, it's already difficult enough to spot really nice rocks when just about everything is white. So why make it more difficult than it has to be? As you can see up here, just a few feet away, the rocks are a little bit cleaner. It's a little bit easier to spot interesting looking rocks. Got a cool quartz vein in it right there. What is that? Don't know. When I look at a rock like this, I imagine, what would I do with something like that? It does have a quartz vein right there running through it. This is probably chert, so it may polish up nicely. So I could take something like this, put it on my vibratory lap, put a weight on it with some coarse grit, and just let it go for a couple of days and have a nice flat plane on one side, which then would take a high polish. Then I could just put it up on a stand. So I may actually take this for that reason. If it has a lot of these little quartz veins, which I can't tell right now, it's dirty, but you see it's got the big one right there for sure. If these are all fine quartz veins and that polishes nicely because it's a chert, which I believe it is, this could be a beautiful little piece. So, you know, I think I've just talked myself into carrying this one back to the van. This appears to be some kind of fossil rock. You just make out something in there. I don't know what that is. I don't know my fossils well at all, but clearly there's something in there. Don't know. I'm not gonna take it. So now I'm just walking north of the bridge. Mother Nature decided to turn the oven up. It's got a lot hotter out here as it's getting close to noon. I don't know how much longer I want to stay. What I'd like to find is a large rock that can be made into a sphere. So it takes a particular shape and size rock to produce a good sphere. And my sphere machine only has one side cutting cup right now, which allows for about a 3 to 4 inch sphere in diameter, that is. So I have to keep that in mind. And anyway, along the way, if I find any interesting looking rocks, this looks like it might be a good tumbler. Yeah, maybe not. I saw those bands. Yeah, I suppose. I'll throw this in. I like the banded chert. So I'll throw in anything like this I see along the way, but I'm mostly looking for a large rock for making a sphere. This is an interesting rock here. Some kind of conglomerate. And I'm wondering if I could make this into a sphere. See, the challenge is I have to be able to clamp it in my slab saw so that I can cut it twice. So in other words, in this case, I'd have to clamp it really tight at this end so that I could make a cut here and then make another cut very close to the vise itself, to the wood, so that I'd have two parallel cuts. Those parallel cuts are very important because those then get put in the jig that locks it in, allows you to rotate it around. Now, this rock seems like it would be big enough to make a sphere, just barely. And I kind of like this look. I don't know that any of these rocks will have any color, although I can see a little bit. And I also do not know if that host rock will hold up with polishing. But it's different. I think I will take this one and attempt to make a sphere out of it. And if I can't, if it's too small, I could still make some slabs out of it. So yeah, this will be the one. So now that I've got a couple of stones that I can potentially make into a sphere, for the rest of the day, while I'm here, I'll just goof around and try to find any fun rocks to tumble. Lots of stuff here. You just have to look a little bit harder because everything is sort of whitewashed. I wish we had the Yellowstone River right here with all of its beautiful, colorful agates and petrified woods, but we don't. This is what we have here in southwest Texas. Actually not too far from the border. But if you look hard enough, I promise you there are some interesting rocks here. And as you can see, this just will go on and on and on. It's all one giant rock bar, gravel bar, and some tires. Yeah, humans, all right. This world would be so much better without humans. I've always said that. Look at that amazing fossil imprint. Let me zoom in. I may have to take this rock home just for that. That is really beautiful. You see, it's banded chert, which is what much of this is, but the detail in that, wow, that's really pretty. Look at this swirly banded chert. That is interesting. That would be a beautiful tumbled stone. Well, it would have to be resized. You have a giant concave part right there, but all of that bend, it's amazing. Look at that. Huh. Right next to it is this one here. This stuff is just everywhere. Yeah, if you're into this, this is the place to be. And I am into it, but that piece is a little too big for me. I've got a few others that I'll be taking home and tumbling. Here's another agate rock I think I'll take. Not too special, but I think it will tumble up nicely. It's a good size, good shape. You can see the chalcedony. It's got that nice, what appears to be a nice stripe in it. So, should be a good tumbler. Yes, back to civilization. Time to start heading back home. Listen to all that lovely nature. My home is about a 2.5-hour drive from here back into central Texas. So this is just outside Uvalde. Had to go through San Antonio, Hondo, little towns like that. It's a nice drive. I forget how I discovered this place. I think I was just looking at aerial maps, satellite aerial images. And I saw what looked like a really big rock bar, gravel bar area. I thought, hey, let's go check that out. So I've been back several times and I always find interesting things. We're not far from the border with Mexico. I say that because one time when I came down here, there were a bunch of Border Patrol officers swarming around. It was rather eerie, but I guess there have been some issues, some illegal aliens maybe smuggling in something, I don't know, but it was a big to-do. It didn't bother me though, they just let me go about my business, finding rocks. Well, so my final tally for the day. This bucket has the rocks which I intend to tumble. This container has the larger stones that will either be made into spheres, those two. Have a really cool fossil or perhaps just turned into something artsy. And then finally I did find 3 pieces of petrified wood, which usually I don't find wood down here, so that's exciting. That was the day. Okay, well, got the rocks home, did some cleaning. This is what I ended up with collecting. There are a few more larger ones in my shop. So check back in the next few days and weeks. I will be taking all of these and doing stuff with them. I'll be tumbling, for example, all of this banded chert. I'll probably tumble all this actually, the petrified wood, the fossil rocks. So, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure and check out my other videos about all things lapidary.